Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Not even supposed to be here today.
I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I'll be back.
I'll have what she's having. I'm gonna make him an offer again.
Here's looking at you, kid.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello, I'm your host, Jim McClean. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Pixels on a Screen, a podcast brought to you by the Bandaflix movie review website. Now, we're continuing our Christmas-themed special as we bring back an old tradition. And that's something you do at Christmas. You think of tradition and things and like that. And I thought it would be a perfect opportunity for us to go back to something when we started this podcast many moons ago. Around this time of year, we always sat and looked through Christmas TV guides and picked out some of the best and possibly some of the worst movies that are available on Freeview television. In previous years, I know we've opened that up to looking at streaming and even trying to bring in some physical media. This year, we're making it much more simpler. We're just going to be literally going from Saturday the 23rd of December up until New Year's Day, and we're going to be picking a movie. And I can't do it on my own, otherwise it'll be really boring. So joining me on this pod for the first time physically in the studio is Doctor Nicole Hamilton.
Hello, thank you so much for having me back.
It's fantastic to have you here in the studio, not through the powers of Zoom. You're here physically with us in Belfast, and you're joining us for this little festive tradition. You have come prepared. You have your TV guide. I have my radio times. Now, this is the key point we're always bringing. So how much was your TV guide, Nicole?
Mine was $4.99.
My radio times is £5.50. That's expensive. And I'm very disappointed with my radio times this year. It is often the one time of year where I definitely seek out the radio times. And this year, I'm not cross. I'm just disappointed, Nicole, because there's a lot of prevalence now has been put aside. I'm looking here, they've got a whole section now for streaming. We're trying to defend physical media and defend kind of Freeview television. They have dedicated quite a bit of space, quite a lot of page. You can hear the pages flicking, listeners. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to allow ourselves to go too much. I'm sure we will probably talk about streaming because, unfortunately, that's the world we live in now. So you can hear me flicking my page. Now, we were going to do from Christmas Eve, but then you kind of said, but Jim, I've actually picked a movie that I want to watch, and it's on Saturday the 23rd of December. So we're going to break another tradition. We're going to go from Saturday the 23rd up until New Year's Day. We're going to have a look at what's on the box. The key thing has to be Freeview. Can't be Sky or anything like that. I know there's some Sky free Sky channels, but traditional Freeview television. I'll even allow you RTE if you so wish, Nicole. So Saturday the 23rd of December, you're kicking us off. What's your pick of the day?
My pick of the day is It's a Wonderful Life. It's a classic, but it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, everyone loves It's a Wonderful Life. I always going to say, and I know it's a very naive thing to say around this time of year, I think It's a Wonderful Life, bringing back physical media, should be prescribed just on a little DVD, and just if you need a little cheer me up, if you need a little something to pick you up. I know it's a film that's dealing with someone who wants to commit suicide, but believe you me, dear listener, if you've never listened, if you've never seen It's a Wonderful Life, it is a film that will make you smile. Every year I try to see it every year I try to see it in cinema. Every year when I do, I'm always a blubbering mess by the end of the film. So clearly it's a film you love. Why do you love It's a Wonderful Life?
Main reason is I love Jimmy Stewart. I really, really, really love him. Every time the man speaks, it just makes me happy. And it actually is something that I only watched for the first time a handful of years ago.
Okay.
I was going through a bit of a Jimmy Stewart phase and just wanted to watch a bunch of stuff of his that I'd never seen. And my granda happens to also be a big Jimmy Stewart fan. And this is one of the few movies that he actually wants to watch on Christmas Day. So the last couple of years, whenever everybody is in the house, I try to put it on. And then my mum yaps that it's in black and white and it's old and she doesn't want to watch it. And then I force them to watch it anyway. Because
you're just right.
It's a delight.
You're just right. And don't you dare let your mum try to coax you into doing the coloured version, because it's hard.
No, I refuse.
You have never even ventured?
No.
No, it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. I was disappointed. You could have brought in Die Hard. It's on Channel 4 that night. I do see a bona fide, I wouldn't call it a Christmas classic, but a film that I always call it like festive favourites that you'll find yourself watching around Christmas time. Paddington is on BBC One. And looking at the times here, you might miss the first 15 minutes of It's a Wonderful Life. It's on Channel 4, 4:30 to 7 o'clock. Paddington is on BBC One, here in Northern Ireland anyway, 6:45 till just after 8 o'clock. So that's Saturday the 23rd. I would probably be out at this point frantically doing my Christmas shopping, frantically trying to kind of get the last of my presents for everybody. You have a smug look on your face, Nicole. I would imagine you have your Christmas shopping done well before Saturday the 23rd of December. This
year, yes. I started a bit early this year, but I do tend to...
When you say started a bit early, when did you start?
October.
That's... You see,
only because my friend's birthday is in October and I was buying her presents, so I just kind of lumped some things in to save shipping, and it just started early.
That's okay. I'm the person, I usually start and then I buy too early, because this is the thing. This is my warning to you listeners. All these people who go out and get all their shopping really early, it's great, but then you find, I don't know if you have this with friends, family, you go, so I've got them this, but what if they've got me an Xbox? And I've got them this. It's not going to be fair, so I'm going to get them. It's like, there's the episode of Big Bang Theory where Sheldon has all the gifts. It's like, I have to get this for it's of equal kind of monetary levels. And then you go to this level and then they've got your pair of socks. And you have got them, I don't know, a gala weekend away at some fancy hotel. And you're like, oh, thanks very much for the socks. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. What can I say? It's just me. It's the life I lead. So we've got a 23rd over and done with. Christmas Eve. Talk me through a Christmas Eve in the Hamilton house. What are you kind of doing?
So the majority of Christmas Eve is my mum preparing for the dinner. The last couple of years we've had my grandparents and my mum's two sisters, and then my granda's sister and her husband over for dinner, so there's a decent amount to prepare for. I don't contribute a lot to this because it's better for everybody involved. It's better if I stay away from all of the food, so I admittedly don't do a lot of prep.
Do you not get like the kind of like tasks that, let's be honest, in the cooking, they're not really that important, but you get given them and then you get that sense of, well, I helped.
Sometimes. Sometimes I
get asked to peel the potatoes.
Yes, that's actually what I was going to say. Sometimes I peel the potatoes or the carrots.
And you get to chop them, cut them up. So you're like, you love your roasties? So it's all in the cutting and the peeling.
See, what happens with me is I cut the carrots and then I get told those are too big or those are too thin. And then I'm just like, well, then you do it. So, but yeah, that's it. We don't do much else particularly festive. The only other tradition that we have is opening one present at kind of the end of the day on Christmas Eve. But apart from that, that's kind of it.
The key thing is, because I've never done that. I know my lovely wife would do that type of thing. So have you a present set aside specifically for that as your Christmas Eve present? Or are you the person who goes, there's that huge big box sitting under the Christmas tree? I love that.
Usually I ask my mum what she thinks I should open, and then she just decides for me what, or I kind of pick things up, try to feel out kind of what things are.
What's in this?
Yeah, and then, but you don't want to open like the really good stuff the day before, so I kind of go off of her reaction to things, what's maybe the right thing to open.
Because in our house now, the Christmas Eve tradition is you get new pyjamas.
Yes.
You get new pyjamas. That's your Christmas Eve gift. And you have to come down and do your pyjamas. And even now as a 40-year-old man, 41-year-old man now, my lovely wife is entering her 40th year, we have to take a photograph and send it to her mum. And then because I've sent the photo to her mum, I'm going to send the photograph to my mum. And my mum will be like, what are you doing? It's like, this is not a thing we do. And it's like, it's just festive. Just do with it. No, Christmas Eve hours, we have started. We will usually go out into the cinema, watch a film. This year, like last year, we're going to go see Elf at the Strand. It's going to be nice. Then we have to do the frantic, mad kind of the turkey dash, the bread dash, and then the kind of 5 to 6. Did anyone get cranberry sauce? No, I didn't get cranberry sauce. Fuck. Got to go down to the shop. And there's always that one shop. I'm sure there's one round by you. You know it's going to be open till like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock Christmas Eve. And then you'll be like, oh, no shops will be open. It's like, don't you worry. Christmas Day, we need to go get milk on Christmas morning. Jaunty Joe down the way, he always opens up. You have that shop, don't you?
Used to. Whenever I lived in the middle of Cookstown, there was a shop that would always be open. Now I live a bit more in the country, and it's slightly harder to find that one shop. I actually can't think of one off the top of my head. But hopefully, because there's always something.
Maybe someone listening to this will say, well, do you know what? If Nicole Hamilton wants milk on Christmas Day, we'll make sure we're open.
Oh, so, milk is the thing that we will always have because I drink tea by the gallon.
That's all right. And you do you put a cow in your... Not literally. I get accused of putting half a cow into my tea.
Yeah, I put quite a bit of milk in.
Yeah, I get that. So, is TV... Because I'll ask you the same with Christmas Day. Is TV on Christmas Eve? Is it background? Is there anything you'll seek out and kind of watch?
I put the TV on, and because I try to keep control of the remote, because God only knows what is going to end up being put on. I try to keep it to Christmas movies.
And you're like, guys, we failed to watch It's a Wonderful Life yesterday. It was on Channel 4. We're gonna watch it this evening.
Yeah, I think I put on 4 movies last year throughout the day, and I'm going to try to do that again and figure out a list of really good
these
movies.
Films, this comes back to you, these films that are on TV, if you've sought out, or are these, I've got this DVD, or I know that's on that streamer. What were the 4 you watched last year?
It's a Wonderful Life was the first one. Miracle on 34th Street.
It's on Christmas
yes,
Eve.
That's actually my pick for Christmas Eve. What did I put on after that? I can't actually remember.
I'm hoping there's a curveball in here.
I think I put on Clue. I think that's probably my curveball.
Clue's a good film.
I definitely put on something else, and I can't remember what it was.
Black Christmas.
Oh, what a classic. Don't know that anybody in my family would be very happy about that.
Yeah, you never know.
But I might sneak it in, see if anybody notices.
Okay, because my rule with Christmas Eve, let's say we go to the cinema and we do that, and then I'm making the sherry trifle on Christmas Eve, and it's 1 for me, 1 for the trifle, 1 for me, 1 for the trifle. I'm not asleep. So usually I'll maybe have a couple of beers or anything after the present. I want something to I don't really wrap presents. I put them in little gift bags. So we have gift bags each year. And it's just the same gift bags, or with Amber, I have a lovely Christmas box that I put stuff into. And I'll be doing that, usually helping clean around the house, or being told that I'm not cleaning the house right, or I've done that, well, obviously didn't do it right, and blah, 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 blah. I love you dearly, my lovely wife. But not until the evening is the TV really on, because we're usually out, and as I say, you're doing stuff. And it's usually something I want to wrap a present to, that you can watch. I don't want to watch something I've seen once or twice, or I've never seen before. That's why something like Die Hard's almost perfect, because you can look down, you can look, I will count to 3, there will not be a 4. And you're like, oh, Hans, it's not going to end well for you. But I have picked for Christmas Eve, thinking with that now, unfortunately this is BBC 2, but not if you're in Wales. So if you're one of our listeners in Wales, and looking at the kind of figures, we have the occasional person tuning in. I have went with 9 to 5. 10:30, Dolly Parton, and I think that's her debut. And it's just this fantastic film. You've got Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin. It's an absolute joy of a film. I love 9 to 5. It's one of those films, I know if my mum's up, I don't think she will. She might be up on Christmas Eve, even though because I'm sure at some point we'll watch Home Alone. Well, Home Alone 2's on that day, but I think we'll be out. I don't know if Mum will be up in time. We could watch that film 1,000 times, and my mum will still be howling and laughing. And I think 9 to 5, now in 2023, there's a lot more subtext into it. It was ahead of its time in a way. But that's my pick. 10:30, I'm going to be half cut, I'll have made the trifle. The trifle's in the fridge. In the fridge, the jelly, waiting for the jelly to set. What are you picking? I think you've already let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, I did. It's Miracle on 34th Street.
This is the Attenborough version.
Yes.
With a slightly different ending to the original. Isn't it Money? Isn't it Money that in the God we trust?
I actually can't even remember.
In the Money, I think. Apologies, listeners. Jim McClean, half rambly fact. In one of the versions, it's about the post office, and then another version, it's about money. I think in the Dickie Attenborough version, it's about money. Someone message in. Adam Neeson will probably be listening. He'll maybe be getting angry enough to message in. So, yeah, Miracle on 34th Street. As I said, I do see at the same time, because that's on Channel 4, ITV1, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
That's also a good movie.
Better than the first one.
Maybe
Better than the
so.
first one. Because as I get older, Nicole, it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen. I get older, and I find myself rooting a little bit more every year for the Wet Bandits. Just for Kevin. I don't want him to come to a really bad end. Just a gentle break of the neck. One move. Like Chuck Norris would do. Just one move. Wouldn't want him to be in. It would be... there's a poor taste reference in relation to our recent episode about the Abyss. A bit like those people in the Titan sub. You take comfort in the fact that they wouldn't have suffered. Yeah. It was all... It happened before they knew it. That's what I want for Kevin.
So that's your ideal ending of Home Alone 2.
The key thing is, I get to that stage, and I do this every year, we go, oh, he is such a little shit. And then it gets to the bit in Home Alone where they're in the church. And there's something about that sequence. And I know that's the point where the whole film then changes and it kind of becomes into this kind of caper as the Wet Bandits are trying to break into the house. And you guys give up? Are you ready for more? But there's something about that church scene where I always go, oh, Kevin's not that bad. But up until that point, every year I watch Home Alone. As I get older, it's like, I just love one, just maybe for him to fall on those wee toys and just pick his name. But then I feel bad because then his mum's going to come home and find Kevin dead.
Yeah, you don't want Catherine O'Hara to be upset.
No.
The poor woman has already forgotten her child at home at Christmas.
And then
she's going through a lot.
And for fuck's sake, she goes through all that. But yeah, she still forgets him a year time. Yeah. A year later.
And I saw on Twitter earlier, somebody pointed out his birthday is on the 22nd of December.
Bastards.
So they forgot him not only at Christmas, but at his birthday.
And this is someone who has their... I've only learnt this, listener. This is someone who has their birthday around Christmas.
Yes.
So if your family's listening, they're not going to want it. They're not going to forget about you at Christmas.
No, they're really not, because I would be devastated.
There we go. So if you're listening, don't forget Nicole.
Please don't.
So, we come to Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. We've talked about, I know it's not film related. I'm just going to say it now. 5:55, BBC One, TV's booked. I'm going to be watching Ncuti Gatwa make his debut as the Doctor. So I'm a Doctor Who nerd. I'm not as bad as others, but I'm very excited. Let's not pull on the thread about talking about bi-generation. I don't know if you're a Doctor Who fan. Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to get into the kind of like the fact now we technically have two Doctors. And, Doctor Who is there with David Tennant, but now we have Ncuti Gatwa. David Tennant's sitting living his best life in retirement with Catherine Tate. No one's going to talk anything about what's unfortunately happened with Bernard Cribbins. He's still trying to shoot those birds. We had that lovely scene in that in the 60th anniversary. I know Trez Hyland, formerly Trez Ray, who is off this parish, would at this point interject and say, well, 8:15 on BBC One, Jim, I'm going to be watching Call the Midwife because I just want to have a little cry at Christmas. Those are both TV dramas. As I flick my page, you can hear it. This is proper kind of quality podcasting material. Nicole, Christmas Day. Ken, is TV on your household Christmas Day, or is everybody just eating dinner, opening presents? What's the kind of Christmas Day in the Hamilton household? Are you a turkey household, beef?
Yeah, turkey. Turkey, definitely. I feel like a couple of people in the house do actually go for beef. I can't remember now.
Oh, so you serving up a medley?
I think, yeah, because I know me and my granny and at least one or two others definitely have turkey, but my mum and her husband are a bit more beef kind of people. So my mum tries to appease as many as possible. But as soon as I get up, presents opened, TV is on.
So you getting up stupid o'clock?
I used to whenever I was younger.
Yeah.
But I am the youngest person in my family, so we don't have any kids running around or anything. So none of us have to get up early.
Okay.
So
you're at that stage and you've accepted it.
Yeah.
Like gone are the days. Like my lovely wife was a late comer to this. Like she would still I think I broke her the first year we married, because the first year we were after we were married, we moved in. And she was like at 6 o'clock. She was like, look at me going, has he been? I was like, go back to sleep. We're not opening presents till my mum comes up. But has he been? You're like, just go back to sleep. So now we're kind of 9 o'clock-ish.
Yeah.
Presents
Same.
kind of like there's the frenzy of this, that, wrapping paper, everything kind of, you got me this, where's the gift receipt? I didn't want this. This is not what I needed. And then you're like, oh yeah, socks. I don't know. I seem to be the person that loves socks.
I mean, socks are the quintessential gift.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a good gift. You're always going to wear socks.
Exactly.
You're always going to need socks. And within 5 minutes, within a day, they'll be there as a lovely pair of 5-packs. They will never be paired. One sock will somehow be in my house in Lisburn. Another sock will somehow be in my parents' in my mum's house in Oma. Don't ask me how. It just happens. So Christmas Day, are you eating early? Are you eating late? Are you starters, desserts?
We usually eat around 2 o'clock-ish.
Okay.
I don't do starters. My mum has started making a brie kind of thing for a starter, and roasting it. No, not roasting it. Surely not. Deep fat frying it.
Ooh.
I think.
I'm going to yours.
Yeah. Feel free to come.
Yeah.
Which has gone down very well with the people in my house who like cheese, which is only about half of us.
I'm judging by that you're not a cheese fan.
No, it's some kind of genetic thing, because I don't like it. My mum doesn't like it. At least one of her sisters doesn't. My granny doesn't. It's just a thing. But my granda does, and a couple of others do, so it gets made. But no, I skip the starters always because I need to have room for everything else that I'm going to eat. And then we're usually done by like 3:30.
Here's another key question. This is where listeners, because we've only really got to know you this year. Nicole, you've been on the TV show a couple of times. You've been on the pod. You'd previously been on one of our Dark Hedges panels, and I say you don't really get to know someone over the Zoom panels, really. I mean, we get to get a glimpse, little bit of a kind of insight into your psyche. When we get you into the studio, we can talk, we can ramble, even more so. But there's another important question. We're talking there about turkey and kind of beef. What are the sweets? So what's the sweet situation in the household, in the Hamilton household? Are we celebrations? Are we roses?
See, this
Are
was
we heroes?
This was a question that was only just asked to me the other day, actually, whenever my mum was getting the sweets. I think we have settled on, I know she got roses.
Right.
I requested celebrations or heroes.
But when you request the celebrations, because this is a thing now apparently, you can get tins of celebrations without bounties, specifically without bounties. And I love a bounty.
Oh, I didn't know this.
I don't know if it's Tesco, other retailers are of course available. Because in my other guise of reading the news, this made the headlines, were like much earlier in the year, that celebrations said they weren't going to be doing tins, or they would be doing tins specifically without bounty because it's their most unpopular sweet.
Really?
And I love a bounty.
See, I am not a coconut fan, so they don't really work for me.
So
but I'm very
you would
surprised.
Be quite happy then to have.
I wouldn't eat them, so it doesn't bother me that they're not there. But I know that my mum loves them, so I wonder if she knows this. Oh,
Karen is sharing. Hopefully, she's got the right box.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know if she got the celebrations,
so
or the heroes.
I never judge people. Celebrations fine, roses are fine, but if someone comes to my house with a little tub of heroes, you're like, not to say I'm a snob. I don't think I'm a snob, but it's like, oh really? No, they're not heroes. I'll eat them. You know, it's at our house. We're turkey. This is going to be the first year. I think we might not have a starter because my lovely wife is like, let's just do an even bigger dinner. Because I would be like,
that works pretty well.
In our household, the tradition is a little prawn ring. Prawn ring, get it in Iceland about March. Put it in the freezer, forget about it. And you think maybe in sometime March or going to go, oh, maybe have we prawns one night? And you go, oh, I forgot about it. You look in the freezer. Oh, there's a prawn ring. That'll do for Christmas. Just remember to defrost out the little dip in the middle and get some extra prawn sauce or seafood sauce. This year, I believe we're not doing a starter. This could have changed, listeners. It's changing the game for me because it's always starter, main, dessert.
Mm-hmm.
This time we're just doing a big, dirty, big Christmas dinner. We will probably eat. I always feel we eat late because we always eat about 5.
Oh, pretty late.
We'll kind of chill out and do bits and bobs, and by the time people come and arrive, and bits and bobs and every other thing, it's like probably about 5. But I think this year we might eat early. Whichever way your persuasion is, we will probably watch the King's speech, not his actual speech, not the movie. Although I do love the movie. We'll probably watch that, and then that's the kind of cue to either sit down, eat dinner, or start to kind of think about kind of getting in. And that's why we're usually about 3 o'clock doing starter.
Mm-hmm.
Then we rest. Then we come back for the main. And it's like, right, let's do this. Turkey, all the bits and bobs, bit of Brussels sprouts. What's on your plate? Key thing. This is what people want to know.
Stuffing.
Right. Meat stuffing or stuffing?
Stuffing.
Okay.
Stuffing. My mum makes, I kid you not, the best stuffing in the country.
Right.
I would be willing to bet money on it.
Okay.
My friend who doesn't even like stuffing came to our house for Christmas one year and was converted because my mum's is that good.
Sausage meat into this?
No, it's breadcrumbs, parsley, onions and butter.
Yeah.
And that is it.
That's
But there is something about it. I don't know what she does different, but it's the best stuffing that you will ever have.
Crack into it.
Probably.
Crack cocaine.
I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
it's like, there we go. That's the secret ingredient. I don't know. Maybe your mum wants to tell us what the secret ingredient is. I don't know. My mum does that because, you see, my mum has an aversion to like sausage meat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people make it, and mum's like, no, not for me. And she also hates sage.
Yeah, my mum has a thing against sage in it as well.
My mum does very pronounced that. She does lots of parsley, blah, 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 all in. Her secret ingredient that she throws in is a bit of a Torah, which I think is just like suet, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a thing. I don't know. Every year we have to go, have you got a Torah? You're like, yeah, I've got it, Mum. And it's just like bucks it in and just cooks it in. And it's, yeah, I like that. And it's pretty, what I find about that stuffing is even better the next day.
Yes.
You kind of sit, because my mum will do a little plate, a little kind of, she'll do a little thing separately of the stuff, and you'll be like, right, the next day when you're doing the leftovers, and you get turkey, blah, 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 you're like, right. Get that big bed of leftover stuff in. It's always crispy at the top, because it's been over a bit more. Get on my plate. So that's that dessert. What are you going? Are you a sherry trifle person?
My mum usually does pavlova and something else. I can't remember what the other thing was she did last year. I think we're sticking with pavlova this year.
Can't go wrong with pavlova.
It's
and it is light.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I have to go. I come from the McClean-McMullen household where I come from. You have to it's an excuse to get more booze. The sherry trifle is a thing, and I've started making the sherry trifle in recent years, and I know that will make it. And the first thing I'll do, I'll have a bottle of Harvey's Bristol cream into it. My mum will be, I can't really taste the sherry in this. You're like, for fuck's sake, if you lit it, the whole house would explode. But that's our house. So sherry trifles for me, that's later in the evening. And that's when I've went with my movie choice, when I've went with this. But I believe it's your turn now. What's your pick for Christmas Day?
So I had initially went with the Addams Family too, and then I realised that it said 2021, and I was like, that's funny because the Addams Family Values didn't come out in 2021, and then I realised it was the animated one. So if I had the option, Addams Family Values would be the choice.
BBC, if you're listening, just change it.
Just put it on. Just put the other one on. But I'm seeing now that the original Death on the Nile from 1978 is also on at 3:10 on BBC Two, and I love that movie.
That's a good time too, because I mean, for your household, that's going to be just after your dinner. You're going to be sitting, and you'll be like, "I've just had my dinner." Probably, are you like us? You'll rest for a while before you have your dessert.
Yeah.
So you'll do that, and you'll be like, everyone will be sitting around the sofa. No one can move. The sofa, you'll just kind of covertly say, I'll just put that on to the channel there. We'll just watch this, and then no one will be able to move.
Nobody's going to get anywhere near the remote because they can't move.
You've just ate your dinner, but someone will be like, here, get the Tina celebrations out. Make sure it's the one with the bounty, and you'll sit and watch that. So that's a good film. Is that Peter Ustinov?
Yes, he's my favourite Poirot.
Yeah,
so
he is.
I'm a big fan of him.
I think my favourite Poirot, I do like Kenneth Branagh. I do like him just for the sheer kind of porn star moustache that he has, and the fact that it's just all about the moustache.
See, I just can't cope with the fact that we have a backstory for the moustache. The moustache just is.
That's why, but I think I have to probably say David Suchet, because
that's fair enough.
He's probably the Poirot I've watched the most. But I know my late father absolutely loved Peter Ustinov. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, just a great screen performer. So that is a good choice. I am tempted. See, I was kind of saying I'm kind of going here kind of thinking that we'll have eaten dessert, everything. I am tempted. Channel 4, Home Alone is on 5:30 on Channel 4. I do love that film, and it only can be watched in the company of my mum, who, as I've already mentioned, will every time my mum's seen that film 1,000 times. She still kind of finds it hilariously funny. But I'm just thinking about something, and I know around this time of the year last year we reviewed the film. I'm nearly certain it was last year, maybe the year before. It's not a perfect film. And I know we had you on the TV show talking about Napoleon, a Ridley Scott movie. I think I'm going to go with House of Gucci. At 11 o'clock, BBC 3. It's that time of the evening where I've had everything. I've ate everything that there is to be eaten in the house. Although maybe, not in your household. Well, not for some. We cheese board might come up. Cheese board, some beer. And I'll be at that thing where maybe my lovely wife will be like, "You going to go to bed?" And you're like, I might just sit up and I might fight with the Christmas tree and kind of, what the fuck are you looking at? And I'll have probably, I think there is on BBC that night, I think there's a whole thing about Dolly Parton.
Ooh.
On BBC. I know there was, a couple of years ago I remember watching something. I could be wrong, and I'm not going to start flicking through here to find out. But there'll always be on BBC, there'll always be something about a musical artist. So we'll probably have watched that, and my mum will be like, I'm going to go to bed. Amber's going to be like, go to bed. You'll be like, oh, it's House of Gucci, and let's just take in the performance. It should have at least been nominated for Lady Gaga. She should at least been nominated for that performance. I don't particularly love Adam Driver. Adam Driver does Adam Driver's thing. But we have one of the greatest Italian accents of all time with Jay Leto. I mean,
that man.
I'm telling you, can you think of anything better? Christmas Day, Christmas night, you're full of food. You're kind of looking for kind of a mixture of, you don't know whether to eat more, or you're looking kind of for like, what do you call them, the kind of settler's tums or whatever it is to kind of settle your stomach and your indigestion. You know that Boxing Day, there's a lot of pain. Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day, whatever you want to call it. There's a world of pain coming your way on Boxing Day. What better way to end? Well, I say this, Forrest Gump's on Channel 4 at 10 o'clock. See, that's an hour early. That's an hour earlier. So 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock. But because, well, no, actually I was going to say because the adverts in Channel 4 it might have ended differently, and it ended later. Forrest Gump's not a bad little film to sit and watch when you're full of food, you've drank too much, you've ate too much. You're still kind of, the novelty of all your presents is kind of worn off. Unless it's a really good video game. Nothing will ever keep getting Zelda Ocarina of Time. Many, many years ago, I just disappeared over Christmas. That was me. But that's me. I think I'm going to go House of Gucci just for Jared Leto's terrible accent. But Forrest Gump I'm going to throw in. But that is not to say Death in the Nile, bit of Peter Ustinov, what's not to like. So
See, I'm a huge Al Pacino fan. Yeah. So House of Gucci is calling my name actually. I might. There's enough room in the day for Death in the Nile and
both of those. It's not Sophie's choice, Nicole. You can choose. So we come to Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day. What are I'll go first in this. So this is kind of Boxing Day. It's leftovers day. It's days where like in-laws and family are still there, and you're like, oh, we've done all our small chit chat. Like, oh, let's go over that. Oh, you already told me that story. Oh yeah, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, and then or maybe cousins are coming up to the house you haven't seen for a while, or their family couldn't make it on Christmas Day. And you're like, oh, brilliant, okay. And in our house, it's a big day in Boxing Day for phoning people.
Oh, okay.
On the phone and kind of like being like friends and family further afield. But, oh, how are you? Have you a nice Christmas? Blah, blah. Oh, here's James. He's just here. Do you want to speak to me? Like, oh, hi, how are you? It's like, yeah, got Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's great, loved it. Yeah, it's great. I'm going to go back up to my room now and play it. So, yeah, Boxing Day. Boxing Day is usually the day, because as I say, it's leftovers. There's no real prep, and kind of the sherry trifle's still there. You're kind of eating that, and maybe a bits and bobs you're kind of nibbling on. That's my big day for TV. And I could go a couple of ways here. You could go for, in the afternoon, bit of Brief Encounter, BBC Two, bit of old kind of fashion, bit of old classic cinema. Could go classic Irish cinema on Channel 5, or first mentioned to Channel 5. In the evening, though, that is, of course, 11:25, The Commitments, one of the greatest Irish films of all time. You've got The Great Escape. I mean, great choices here, classic films. You're looking at me, though, you're not impressed. So I'm going to say, for me, and I'm looking at it here, it's not the animated version, but I have a real soft spot for the live-action Beauty and the Beast with Dan Stevens. And it's probably because Dan Stevens is a bit of a dreamboat. I think of all the things when they do the live actions within the House of Mouse, there's very usually little reason for them, justification for them. They do a few little things, particularly with Beast's character, and Dan Stevens gets a bona fide belter of a song that's not an animated song. I think it's Evermore. I think I could be wrong. Apologies, listeners. But he gets a real belter halfway through the film, and it kind of, I think anyway, it works in kind of the structure of the film, because it's very much copying the animated, per potem. It's copying it word for word. But also, I'm looking here, you could do Raiders of the Lost Ark, 650. If there's a couple of sweets left in the celebrations from the maybe 6-pack someone brought to you on Christmas Day, if there's a beer left, can't go wrong with Indiana Jones.
Very true.
But I don't think I've grabbed your attention with any of those. So what is Nicole Hamilton picking for Boxing Day?
So mine is a movie that I was actually very surprised was on, High Society.
Okay. Which
is a remake of a 1940 film called The Philadelphia Story, which also stars Jimmy Stewart. I do prefer the original, but High Society is a great musical starring Grace Kelly, Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby.
There's something about Boxing Day. I remember Richard Davis, formerly of this parish, used to always kind of say that Boxing Day was his day for him when he would watch musicals.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, maybe just a pure coincidence, but I don't know. Are you
possibly
you a musical fan? Are you going to find yourself kind of maybe watching a couple of musicals in a row on Boxing Day?
Possibly. I actually I was checking to see because I'm a bit of a loser. I keep track of every single thing that I watch on Letterboxd.
You're not a loser.
So
you're just organised.
Little bit. So I went and checked to see what I had watched last year on Christmas Day. And
well, you say this, we asked you earlier on about your 4 films on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
You can remember.
I know, that's why I looked it up. One of them was Bugsy Malone. So I'm very much a musical person. Some of them
I haven't watched Bugsy Malone in a long time.
It's so good. I was obsessed. One of the local schools in Cookstown did a production of it whenever I was like 14 or 15, and I've been obsessed ever since. I loved it.
I remember vividly watching it, and I think I was sick and I was off school or something. Maybe it was around, it might have been around Christmas time, I'm not sure, but I just remember it being on TV, and then the whole stuff with the pies,
yeah.
And when you realise what the pies mean to an extent, and kind of the big pie fights and stuff,
yeah.
It's madness.
It absolutely is.
It's loop-de-loop, and I think if you try and sell that to someone now, I don't know. I don't think a remake would work because it's off its time.
Yes.
And I don't think there needs to be a remake. Like you mentioned Clue. Apologies, I'm really bunged up. I've had the cold, listeners. You mentioned Clue. I think there's been talk about a Clue remake, reboot, new version of Clue for quite some time. I think it's still happening.
I hope not.
You don't really need Clue because, which version are you remaking? There's 4 different endings to Clue? 3 different endings to Clue. And then is there 3 different endings, and then there's other version where they just play all of them as well?
That's, yeah, so whenever it was released in theatres, each theatre got a different ending, and then the physical media versions now just play all of them, or you can pick. I think depending on what.
Because we did a screening of Clue and we put it on random mode.
Ooh.
You can put it random and you can get the end, and then someone's very grumpy because it's like, I wanted that end. It's like, well, we put it on random. So so yes, music, Bugsy Malone, not a bad shout.
Love
now we come into the Twilight Zone. It's that week between Christmas and New Year. Nobody knows what day it is.
No.
Nobody knows. Does the bins go out? There's people standing outside their houses, just in their pajamas, dazed, confused, full of cheese, struggling to breathe from the amount of food they've consumed. And this is like the hibernation week. I've always called it the Twilight Zone. And it kind of reflects that in TV. But, and I will say this, I think the TV, generally in the Freeview this year, is a little bit poor. There's nothing of the big, like, film of the days, like the film of the day here on Wednesday the 27th, according to the Radio Times, is The Croods 2. So that says, I don't know, in your TV guide, does it give you a movie of the day?
The TV Times has got a 16-page spread of everything, and then it has the regular one.
Just to compare and contrast.
Where is it? The thing is that bloody long. No.
That is a payoff and a half. So you don't have a film of the day.
No.
Radio Times is going with The Croods 2 and New Age. I've seen the first Croods. It never really felt the need for a sequel.
No.
But it does have Nick Cage. Isn't Emma Stone is in there as well?
Yes.
I think is possibly in that. I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't come back for the sequel. But I remember it having a good vocal cast. But it's kind of like the Ice Age kind of studio behind that. I never was a massive fan. There is, I will say, of the days so far I've looked, there's a lot of good choices on. There also is on Sky Hits, which I'm not sure if that counts as Freeview. I don't think so. They have Jurassic World Dominion, one of the worst installments from Jurassic Park. We do have Meet the Fockers on Channel 5. The Woman in Black on BBC 2. I always find Christmas horror. Daniel Radcliffe. I think it is the original. It's the Daniel Radcliffe. It's not the original TV movie. I love that film. I know the sequel isn't great. I'm busting in February when it comes to the Grand Opera House to see the stage play.
Oh, yes.
Because I went to see 222 earlier this year. I'm a huge fan of Uncanny podcast, Danny Robbins. Love that, and he talked about how much the stage play of The Woman in Black was an inspiration for 222, a ghost story. So I'm definitely going to try. I think it's February. Anyone from the Opera House, if they're listening, do want to send us tickets, it'd be great. Looking forward to that. So I'm tempted by The Woman in Black. This is the first time where it's been like, ooh, this is a hard choice. And it might just come down to the fact that it's BBC, so there's no adverts. I have either The Woman in Black, 10 o'clock on BBC 2, or at the exact same time on Channel 4, Catch Me If You Can. The most underrated Steven Spielberg film. Genuinely, I think it's the most underrated Spielberg film. You have the great Tom Hanks. You have Leonardo DiCaprio looking so young. And genuinely, we've talked about this before in previous pods about Spielberg and Catch Me If You Can. Genuinely one of the most underrated Spielberg films in his back catalogue. And that man has an impressive back catalogue.
He does indeed.
I could also throw out, maybe I'm going to spoil stuff for you, I could throw out into Channel 4, Stardust.
Yes.
Another film I think's really underrated, and you want to see the great Robert De Niro doing something that little bit different, you will definitely see that in Stardust.
Yes, you will.
But that's me. I'm gonna be nervous here, Nicole. There's a film I see in my guide, and it's going to be a test of our possible friendship.
Oh, no.
To see if you pick it. It's like, because I do know you're a fan of these movies, or you go to see these movies. I'm hoping that this isn't going to be your pick of the day.
Oh, now I feel like I've missed something. Well, my one of my, I have two.
Okay.
One of mine was Stardust.
Okay, good
because
choice.
I love that film. I have loved it since it came out. I saw it on a school trip.
Mm-hmm.
I was.
Oh, you got to go. How posh was your school? You got to go to school trip to the cinema?
Only on very special occasions.
Is this the Cookstown cinema that we've mentioned before in the pod? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
With the wonky
the good old
screen.
because our school was in walking distance. So I went to Cookstown High School. So we literally just like walked down the road and went to the cinema. But I also really love the book of Stardust, and I wrote an essay about it in uni. So I am a big fan. My other pick, which is on at 20 to 9 in the morning, and I don't know that I'm going to be up at that stage, so I might just have to record it and watch it a bit later, is Suspicion, the Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
I said that I'm a big Jimmy Stewart fan. I am an even bigger Joan Fontaine fan. I adore her. I like Hitchcock a lot. And this is just a great, fun little thriller.
Yeah, brilliant Hitchcock film. I will say now, for our listeners who are sitting in tenterhooks, I was worried you might put a reference and say, Jim, my pick of the day is Deadpool 2.
Oh, no.
Film 4. Because I don't like Deadpool.
No.
I don't find it's not that I don't like it, I just don't find the whole hullabaloo about it. No, it's a 15, it's so edgy. It's just a standard Marvel comic book movie with a little bit more violence and a little bit more effing and the jeffing.
Yes, that's it. The shtick gets old very quickly.
Hey, well, we're going to have Deadpool 3 next year, I think. I think it's next year it's out.
Yeah,
so
I'm only excited about that because Hugh Jackman's wearing
Huge Action is back. And he's wearing his yellow Wolverine costume, so we've all that to be excited. So, here we come to Thursday the 20th. We're still in Twilight Zone. I have probably, I don't know, could be wrong. Maybe we might go for the same choice here. I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to ask you, is your choice on BBC One?
I have two, and one of them is.
Is yours possibly starting at 11:30?
No.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So, Nicole Hamilton, what are you picking for Thursday the 20th?
So my BBC One choice is Ghostbusters 2.
Brilliant choice.
Because I have been obsessed with that movie since I was a kid.
Only a Carpathian would choose New York.
Sorry, I don't know what just happened to my brain. I just switched
That's
off.
You just got you were thinking about Vigo the Carpathian.
That man terrified me. There was something about the stare from the painting. Just
Nicole, I feel a bonding moment between us. Right? I feel a bonding moment here between us. I don't know if you've heard this story before. I had to be removed from the cinema watching Ghostbusters 2. I'm sorry, listener. Anyone who listens to this regularly know I trot this little anecdote out. It's like, oh, fuck. That anecdote again. Oh, Jesus Christ, Jim. Here we go. But I went to see Ghostbusters 2, having loved Ghostbusters, brought my Ecto-1 with me, with all little Ghostbusters, all into the cinema in Oma. We went to see it, and loving it. It was brilliant. There's Peter Venkman doing his thing, all these jokes about, I would love to do a gynecological test on his mother. Who wouldn't? All this stuff going over my head. You're like, Jesus, when you watch it now. The moment when lightning comes out of that painting's eyes in that cinema in Oma all those years ago, 1989, I think.
Indeed.
I shit my pants. Not literally, but I got really upset and started to cry. Oh. And if you know that scene, I always say this podcast is a bit like therapy for me. That scene, so it happens, and it's like, is it Peter McNichol? It's like, bring me a child so I might live again. And Peter McNichol's walking off, and he's like, a child, a child, and like looks again as if question mark, and then all the lightning just comes out again, and I'm sitting there. My mum talks about this really well. She's like, I'd calm down. I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's alright, it's fine. Happens again. I properly explode in the cinema, start crying, and this guy gets up in front of us, and about 5 minutes later, an usher came down and was like, sorry, you're going to have to ask you to leave.
Oh my God.
Nicole, are you ready for the really traumatic bit?
Oh, okay.
I left Ecto-1 at the cinema. No. My mum, the next day, went back. Going, my son was here, got really upset. Someone had taken Ecto-1. Whether it was someone in the cinema cleaning up or whether it was that fucker sitting in front of me, I don't know. So Ghostbusters 2. Now, the thing I would disagree with you now you're watching Ghostbusters 2 on the wrong day. Ghostbusters 2 should be watched on New Year's Eve because it's a New Year's Eve movie.
That is true.
So on New Year's Eve, I will often find myself watching When Harry Met Sally for the greatest monologue ever by Billy Crystal, talking about New Year's Eve, but also Ghostbusters 2 because they saved the day on New Year's Eve. They saved New York City, not once, not for the first time, but for the second time. We don't talk about the third. It's not them. But I suppose they do save in the third. We have Gozer coming back, and we have the new Ghostbusters preview out next year.
We do.
I know we had the guys on from Ghostbusters Ireland who are very excited about that. So you've Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Good shout. Ghostbusters 2, sorry, we should clarify. You've that. What else are you going for?
My second pick is maybe predictably, since I mentioned Death on the Nile earlier on, but Murder on the Orient Express. Okay. Again, the Sydney...
I was going to say your next choice, of course, logically would be Happy Feet. Happy Feet.
I actually also saw Happy Feet in the cinema with school.
Your cinema... I don't know, listeners, my school kept it real. We got to go to the Tato factory once.
Oh, so did we.
That was our excursion, and they sent us out a bag of unflavoured crisps. Not even ready salted, just plain crisps we got to take home. That was keeping it real. So, those are yours. I have two very different films for you for Thursday and Sunday. And this is one thing I love, and I think, TV people, they know what they're doing. So, my first choice is bona fide. I'm talking about Ghostbusters 2, about traumatic experiences. BBC One, 11:30, Inside Out. I blubbed my eyes. I probably blubbed in that film. There's an unfortunate event. Take Her to the Moon. And I sat there. And I'll tell you now, Nicole, so I have some nice friends and I have some horrible friends. So, isn't it Bing Bong?
Yes.
Bing Bong, yeah. I wept for Bing Bong, right? I went to see it at a preview at the Edinburgh International Film Festival. Oh, la-di-da. Wow. It was 3D. Got to hide my crying glass, my crying shame behind my glasses. A couple of weeks later, I was taking my lovely wife to go see it. There was a little child sitting beside us. And she got a little bit upset about, there's the short, if you remember it, Inside Out, the little island.
Yes.
And she was like, she got a bit sad at that. And I kind of nudged Amber going, if she thinks she's going to cry at this, wait till she fucking sees Inside Out. It's grand. Comes to the unfortunate event. She's there. Nothing. Me. Because I know it's coming, hits harder, blub, and I mean do the thing of like trying to talk and cry at the same time. Go, I'm fine. This little girl, who, I don't know, I'm really bad with children's ages. She could be anything from 5 to 31. I don't know. She hands me a tissue. And my lovely wife then is like, oh my God, I'm going to stick this thing. So Amber, my lovely wife and I were sitting in the cinema, just gone. And any time I still watch Inside Out, I always get that point. But the reason why I said I have lovely friends and bad friends, Joanna Leach, who's a programmer at the Strand Arts Centre, probably about 3 months after Inside Out's release, sent me a little photo. And it was a little photo of Bing Bong. And she was like, too soon? And you're like, it's too soon.
It's always too soon.
It's too soon. So Inside Out, I just think, and I sit here now as we record in December 2023, nervously excited about Inside Out 2, because it's going to be out next year. And I think it could be brilliant. It could be the Toy Story 2, the Toy Story, or even Toy Story 3, the Toy Story 2. But I do think Inside Out's a perfect film.
Yes, it is.
I don't think it needed a sequel, but I kind of trust Pixar, even with some of their like Lightyear, I'm looking at you kind of ideas where it feels like they're there for this will make us money. I hope, and I do trust Pixar that they have come up with a great reason for Inside Out 2. I think by looking at the trailer, it seems like they have. We have our little girl, she's now entering, I'm trying to get the name of it. No, it's not Joy. Riley.
Yes, Riley.
We have Riley. Riley thinks she's entering her teenage years now. And I think that's a clever idea. I hope. You find, like, you looking at me, we've shared emotional bonds here. during this podcast. This is a Christmas pod. It's meant to be happy and uplifting. We've had slur this evening, but here we are sitting crying over our little glass of slur over Bing Bong.
I haven't watched it since the very first time that I saw it because I can't handle it. But I do think this film is perfect. I really, really do.
Properly perfect, yeah. I watched it too soon after watching it the first time, and it was that sense of, I'll be fine. Oh my God, I'm not fine. As I said, I had two choices. I love how we started this going, we just got one each. And I went, fuck it, the whole thing. 11:20, Channel 4. And I said this is one thing I love about what TV producers do. The entire Godfather series is on Channel 4 over this week.
Even the Godfather Coda.
Yeah, well, this is one thing I'm going to come to. You've stolen my thunder for that now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Because it's the new version of The Godfather 3. The Godfather 3 is not a very good film. It's a very flawed film. It's still an interesting film, a film and what it's kind of doing. It has that great line, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me right back in. But The Godfather is a bona fide classic. And my lovely wife, I've tried to sit down and get her to watch them. We've watched Goodfellas. We've watched kind of a few of the kind of Scorsese gangster ones. I've always said to her, let's watch The Godfather. It's sitting there on the ledge in the Blu-ray box set. Bought it on Apple TV. So I would have the new Coda, and I was like, well, why just buy Coda? I'll just buy the whole three of them, even though I've got them on the box set. I've got them on DVD and Blu-ray. Do you want to watch The Godfather? Yeah, let's watch Bob's Burgers again. You're like, okay, I love Bob's Burgers. So I'm going to try this year, although I see the fact that it's on Channel 4 at 11:20 on Thursday the 28th. That's a late night for my lovely wife. My lovely wife is not a party person. When she wants to be, she can be. My lovely wife likes to go to bed. She could go to bed quite easily 9:30. Snuggle into bed, put her PJs on. Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But we're finding it hard to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine because Andre Braugher. So that's mine. So I know my lovely wife. It's 11:20 on Channel 4, Thursday 28th. She'll probably not make it to that time. We'll have to record it, and then it'll be on our Skybox and Apple TV and Blu-ray and DVD. And she'll be like, do you want to watch this? Nah.
I think it's also on 4OD.
Boom. There we go.
Because that's where I watched it.
There is another reason for me to try and persuade my lovely wife to listen to it, and she won't. So that's I'm going with two, Inside Out and The Godfather. Those are pretty good movies.
Yes, they are.
That's 28th. We're coming to near the end. We've got the 29th of December. Nicole, what are you going with?
Okay, so my pick is one that I only watched for the first time very recently, which is Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Bonafide classic.
I loved it.
Bonafide classic. Purely just the comedy genius that is John Candy.
Yeah.
You want to hurt me? You want to hurt me? Go ahead, hurt me. I like me. Oh. My friends like me. My wife likes me. Now, because we've watched it, do you like to believe, Nicole, that at the end of that film, John Candy moves in and lives with Steve Martin?
I hope so. I hope he does. Because they welcomed him into their home so lovingly. And maybe he just stayed and never left.
Like, 'cause it's going to get really awkward. You never see that in the sequel that never was. Like, the day after, it's like, bye, John Candy. You've got to go back to pretty much you've nobody.
Oh, that hurts to think about. Nah, he decided to stay in their spare room.
I think he lets him stay in a spare room till he gets his feet in the ground, and then just by chance, happy music plays, and it's always that, look around that world, pretty baby. It's always that song in my head, and it's like, by chance, the house next door goes either for rent or to buy.
Oh, yes.
And then they move in, he moves in, and they become next door neighbours.
Yes,
and every morning they're waking up looking at their newspapers, good morning, neighbour, good morning.
I like that.
He's got his little mufflers on still, earmuffs. So that is a good film.
Yes, it is.
I've got, again, there's The Godfather Part 2. It's on Channel 4 this time at 10:45. But then it is longer than the first Godfather.
Yes, it is.
Godfather Part 2 is a long film. There's The Quiet Place Part 2. Is on Film 4. Close Encounters. Great. We're talking about Spielberg. But I'm going to go for a film that I saw at the cinema back in the days in the movie house when they did preview screenings. And I had no idea what I was going for. It's a film BBC One, 2:20 in the afternoon, The Book of Life. Now, if you've never seen this film, Nicole, I would recommend it. Where else are you going to see a little matador singing a cover of Radiohead Creep?
I didn't know that happens in that film.
He's sitting there. So The Book of Life, a lot of people draw comparisons with Coco, the Pixar film. This was out a few years before. My lovely wife and I went to see this at a press screening and just fell in love with it. Just with film. Hadn't seen the trailers, hadn't seen anything about it. And I remember famously, not famously, but I remember at the time going, the film certificate comes up and it's like, you. And you're like, oh, Universal. Oh, it's going to be terrible. And we sat and just loved this little film. A love story. You've got Ron Perlman in there doing one of the voices. And I think it's Salma Hayek. I could be wrong. I think Christina Applegate is in there. I'm nearly certain she's in there. And you've got two guys vying for the love of the beautiful maiden. One of them, as I say, is a matador who doesn't want to be a matador, doesn't want to follow in his family's tradition. He doesn't want to kill the bull. But he does sing Radiohead Creep. And great musical numbers. If my lovely wife's listening, because I know she doesn't, because she always goes, but what if it's terrible? You're like, thanks. I love you too, lovely wife. There's a great song in it called I Love You Too Much. I'm not singing that. I have it on, I actually have it, because I bought the soundtrack. Would definitely recommend it. You haven't seen it?
I have not.
So if I would say to you, of all the films we've mentioned so far, Friday the 29th of December, BBC One, do seek out The Book of Life. Because here you kind of get, because I think people know, TV people know people are off. There's some good films here. There's also, like I'm looking here as well, a great underrated comedy, although Radio Times only gives it 3 stars, Game Night, which I loved, which I think is by the same directors who did Dungeons and Dragons that was out this year, which we didn't mention when we recorded our end of year review show this year.
No, I actually forgot about that.
Which I did like. I have to admit, I did like Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, Game Night. If you're just looking for a comedy, a little bit different. But if you're looking for a bona fide Jim McClean, Friday the 29th, my pick, it is The Book of Life.
Okay, that's going on my list.
Hopefully you enjoy it.
I feel like I will.
So, we're coming to the end. We're coming to the penultimate night. Saturday the 30th of December. Are you going to be off work? Are you going into work? Or
no, we are off until the 3rd.
Nice.
Which is nice.
Surely you've been there with your family at this point. Are you like falling out with each other at the slightest thing? Or
we fell out with each other on Christmas Day already.
Oh, so over the presents?
Okay. No, just
dinner.
Family trauma.
That's family. That's what makes it even more special.
Exactly.
So Saturday, 30th of December, Nicole, what are you watching?
I think I'm gonna go for The Martian.
Oh.
Okay. I am a big fan of this film, and even though I think I slagged off Ridley Scott a little bit whenever we talked about Napoleon, I do. This is one of the reasons why I love Ridley Scott. There's something about The Martian that just gets me. I like the big sci-fi, the like wide scope kind of sci-fi movies, and this just,
he knows how to build worlds.
He does.
Visually, that's where Ridley Scott started out. He comes from that background, so you get that, and he storyboards everything. So he's got a clear idea of what he wants from start to finish. So yeah, The Martian is a pretty damn good movie. I think that's 11:45 BBC One.
Mm-hmm.
No, not in Scotland. So sorry, Scottish listeners. I don't know what it'll be on at a different time. There is a couple of good movies on here today. Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, I do love. But I'm going to be honest, I'll probably be out. I think I might be actually working on Saturday. I might be in Kew doing some of the broadcasts. So I'll probably be picking stuff later in the evening. But I can't disagree with the Radio Times. Paddington 2. Now, we were talking earlier on about me blubbing during Inside Out. The end of Paddington 2. Have you seen Paddington 2? Nicole Hamilton.
No, unfortunately, no.
Nicole Hamilton, you should watch that. And I'm sorry if I make you cry.
Oh, no.
But it's coming back to that Sing Street idea. It's happy sad. It's tears of happiness.
Is this the one that has Nicole Kidman in it? Or is that the first one? Oh, no.
Nicole Kidman Yes, Nicole Hamilton plays the villain. Nicole Kidman is the villain in the first Paddington.
Oh.
And she's fine. But Nicole, not Kidman, Hamilton, you have one of the greatest performances by Hugh Grant.
Oh.
He plays Master of Disguise, an actor who can be anyone. He can be a nun.
What?
It's brilliant. And do you know what, Nicole? If you do watch Paddington 2, not only have you got one of the greatest cameos ever by Brendan Gleeson as a very grumpy prison inmate, stick around for the post-credits.
There's a post-credit scene in Paddington 2.
There's a post-credits musical number. You love musicals.
What?
Featuring Hugh Grant that I missed in the cinema and only discovered watching it at home on TV. One of the Christmas, I think it was the lockdown Christmas. In the same way, one Christmas many moons ago, I think it might have been Boxing Day, I only discovered there was a second post-credits thing in the first Avengers movie when they're all having shawarma. Because I only ever knew about the first one because that was the one. Right, okay, fuck it, there's Thanos. I'm up, I'm away now. Thank fuck. Who the fuck's that guy? I don't know. I thought I'm going to find out someone else be like, oh my god, that's Thanos. Like, oh, brilliant, right. Who the fuck is Thanos? That's going to be something I'm going to have to do my research on. Only many years later go, but it's like, oh, there's fucking another credits thing. So yeah, so that's how Paddington 2. So if you take anything from this little recording, Paddington 2 and The Book of Life.
Okay. I have some work to do.
So what are you picking? Have you picked?
Yeah.
No, you have picked.
The Martian.
Right? This is why I'm starting to get tired now. Yes. So you've got The Martian. I went with Paddington 2. 5 o'clock, Channel 5. You can't look beyond too much. The Fugitive. Harrison Ford. The one-armed man who killed his wife. One of the greatest scenes ever parodied in The Simpsons. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Just with, I think The Simpsons ruined that scene. So, yes, so that's, we've got some good movies. I think we should be non-lazy and make a list of these so we actually have them up. So now we come to New Year's Eve. Nicole, what is a New Year's Eve in the Hamilton household? You've all been fighting from Christmas Day.
Yep.
So you have to all come together and be all nicey and be like, oh, we're going to make our resolutions. Will you be making resolutions this year?
I'm generally not a resolutions person.
Right.
Partially because if I tried to say, oh, I'm gonna do more of this or more of that, if I don't want to do that thing, I will simply say, no, I choose not to do the thing. So resolutions don't really work very well for me because nobody's stopping me apart from myself.
Very true.
So
very mature. You're a much more mature soul than I am. So, New Year's Eve, are you kind of sitting up to midnight? Are you seeing in the new year? Or are you someone who's like 10 o'clock, fuck it, I've had enough of 2023, 2024, let's be having you, let's get up? Are you sitting up Jules Holland, Hogmanay, or I don't know, there's always a concert in BBC One now, and they always have the big firework display outside Parliament buildings. Whenever
I was a kid, me and my granda used to sit up every single year until midnight and watch all the fireworks and everything. He's not as into that anymore. Okay. I think the novelty's worn off because I'm not 6 anymore. But now I usually spend it with a couple of friends. We usually just kind of flick through the TV until we find New Year's. Is the movie called New Year's Eve or New Year's Day?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
That's one with like the ensemble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're never very good, but somehow they're always entertaining to watch on the actual day. And then watch the fireworks. That's really it.
Just right, and then wait for like the really jazzed up version of Auld Lang Syne that I detest every time I hear it. And you're like, why do you need a trancey version of Auld Lang Syne? Yeah. I always, since my dad passed, I always find myself getting really teary because we'll always put on Jules Holland, because there's the fact that Hogmanay was probably recorded in fucking November. I've gone to accept that it's no longer live. But yeah, I always get a little bit teary when they bring the little piper in and they do like the traditional version of Auld Lang Syne. And then I turn over and my mum's like, "Are you watching the fireworks?" Yeah, okay. And then they have this tranced up, and then it's like they always do the joke every year when they're doing the countdown, and it's like kind of at the third stop and all this kind of stuff. And there's all the things they think of like iconic bits of British culture, and I'm going to imagine there might be something for Doctor Who. There'll definitely be a Doctor Who kind of TARDIS-y sound. Guarantee you it'll be there because it's the 60th anniversary. So that's kind of midnight. So this then brings in key to kind of what you're going to be watching, because you have to be careful with your movie choices, because you don't want to be like the producers. I love BBC 4, one of the great Mel Brooks films, the original. Although I do have a soft spot for the remake with Will Ferrell, Matthew Broderick, and Nathan Lane, I think, as well. But the original I love. But it's 10:50 to 12:20, so you could be watching that, and then you'd be like engrossed in springtime for Hitler, and then before you're like, oh fuck, I've missed it, and then you have to kind of do the countdown at 12:20, and it's not the same. So you have to be careful. So there's some great choices, some classic movies from the likes of Zulu, Carry On Screaming, one of the greatest horror movies that Hammer never made. I love Carry On Screaming. Yeah. So that's why I've picked mine, and I'm going to stick with it. I do think there's other better films there. And that, guys, I do see Marry Me, and that kind of cheesy, kind of cheese-tastic. It's on at 8:25 to 10:10. The Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, if you can't find New Year's Eve, Marry Me might have that similar kind of vibe. Nicole, what are you picking?
Okay, so again, I have two.
It's New Year's Eve, we'll allow it.
Yeah. So the first one is About a Boy, which is
Brilliant
on
film.
ITV1. It was the first thing I ever saw Toni Collette in, and I have a real soft spot for her ever since that.
Very sad film with Toni Collette in it.
Yeah. Toni Collette doesn't really do happy
No.
a lot, unfortunately, but because she's fantastic. But and then my second pick
And
is
she doesn't, in that film, she knows how to make pretty deadly loves. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen About a Boy. But I remember, it was another film I remember watching around my birthday time one year. We set up Stupid O'Clock, watched it, loved it. Like, No Man is an Island. Well, if I'm an island, I'm fucking Ibiza. Hugh Grant again. And just being utterly charmed by it, absolutely loving it. And just being obsessed with the soundtrack. I think it's Badly Drawn Boy, I think, does the soundtrack.
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, brilliant soundtrack, brilliant
Yeah.
film. So that's a good choice. And that's, well, that's kind of bringing you in, so 11 o'clock in the morning, is that?
Yeah, that's pretty
a
early.
Weird time for About a Boy.
Yes, it is.
I remember seeing this going, are they going to do the thing of like what they do in The Simpsons, with some of the references maybe cut away, cut it out? I don't know.
Because that came out whenever I was 7, and I think there's some things in that movie that I was kind of like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, we have mentioned, I mean, it does deal with suicide.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's on at that time. But
It's
hey,
pretty heavy.
it's a good film.
But-
We're all adults in the room.
Yeah.
Just be careful, little ones, if they're listening,
Yes.
if they're going to watch it. So yeah, so that's About a Boy. I'm going to give you that. Yeah.
And then my second pick is more family friendly, and that is Matilda.
Not the musical.
No,
The great Danny DeVito version.
yes, and it was very exciting at Comic-Con this year because Mara Wilson was there, and I didn't pay to meet her just because money,
Yeah.
but I did look at her from afar, and it was
She
very
looked at-
exciting.
Did she look at you?
No,
You didn't look at her, and she looked at you, and you both kind of like smiled. She knew.
no, me and my friend were just kind of like trying to see above other people and like excitingly just been like, it's Matilda.
Yeah, I love cons, but I also feel cons you're paying for the privilege to go in to pay money to do stuff. But yeah, I mean, she was a good guest. I didn't get to go to the con this year because I was doing other bits and bobs. But yeah, see, I really thought for a second you were going to tell me this beautiful story about how kind of she looked up. She was a really annoying person who was asking her for the umpteenth time about Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire. She looked up at you and you looked up to her and you were like, Matilda, Mrs. Honey, and you were like, yeah, she just had a little smile.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
No.
Well, Matilda's a good choice. And I mean, I do like that. I mean, we were talking about this recently with Wonka. There is problems with, I guess, with Roald Dahl. Kind of the person. And it's whether you can separate the art from the artist. And there's a whole big discussion. I know that Robert J. Simpson does that with Cinepunk. They've talked about that for many years. There is problematics with Roald Dahl, but I love this film, and I think it's that sense of Danny DeVito coming in, and I know you get this classic idea, well, they're going to relocate it and bring it to America instead of England, but I think he does at least try to do something with the source material. I didn't like the musical.
I haven't actually seen it. I didn't love the look of it, so just kind of steered clear.
I don't know, and it's just a little song. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit naughty. Fuck up. Sorry, I just felt very old there. But no, it didn't work. It didn't do anything for me, if I'm honest. I remember seeing it in the cinema. I'm not sure if it's on. I think it might be streaming now.
I think so.
It was a Netflix title. Makes sense to have it round about Christmas. Saying that, younger viewers I know went to see it, loved it. Absolutely adored it. I just didn't adore it. But for me, tradition in our household, always, New Year's Eve, my mum will always do this thing. And this is going to happen to you in later life, Nicole.
Okay.
So, you've moved away from home. You're not there. You're kind of sitting about and doing your bits and bobs, and your mum will phone you on New Year's Eve. I'm just going to go up to Spruce Field this afternoon. And you're like, all right, okay. She's like, I'm just going to go up and see the sale. She's like, all right, okay. Might go up about 4-ish. Do you think it'd be all right if I came round for a wee cup of tea? And you're like, Mum, do you want to come up for New Year's Eve? Do you want to just come up? And she's like, no, I'm just coming up. I'll not stay. I don't want to impose on you and Amber. You'd be like, yeah. Mum will come up to Spruce Field. She'll brought stuff in, and then she'll be sitting, we'll have dinner. She's like, maybe I could just go in the morning. Are you just going to sit up to watch Jules Holland? And my mum hates Jules Holland. She hates him. She's like, you're going to sit and watch? She's like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. She's like, okay, I might just stay if that's okay. And you're like, yeah, okay. So my mum will do this. That's what we do. And then the tradition is, we did it last year. I think we did it last year because I'd bought it specifically for that reason. But I see it's on ITV, or UTV, we should say here. No Time to Die. 007, Daniel Craig's swan song. I think Billie Eilish's tune is one of the most it's one of the Bond songs that has really grew at me.
Yeah.
And I think at the time when I remember first hearing, I think I first heard it when I was at Q, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this or not. It kind of is one of those ones that goes nowhere. It doesn't hit me like the way like Adele's Skyfall. Are you a Bond fan?
I've seen a couple here and there. They're not something that I actively
You're not
look
tempted
towards.
to seek out the entire back catalogue?
No, but I love Goldeneye. That's my one that I am kind of ride or die for. I really, really love Goldeneye.
Brosnan.
Yeah,
I'd Pierce knew what he was doing. But yeah, I think No Time to Die. I know there's people don't like it. Some people do find it a bit baggy. I do have problems with the villain. Rami Malek in this. I think he's a bit of a dull villain, and there's all the kind of nanobots, but I remember the whole joke, nanobots aren't just for Christmas, they're for life. But I think, again, it sounds like I'm on a common thread. They managed to make me cry, Nicole, at a Bond film.
They're putting on a lot of movies that you've cried
Nicole,
to.
I weep at the drop of it. It would be a shorter list of films I haven't cried at. It's just that says more about me. So that's New Year's Eve. That's the penultimate. So New Year's Day, I can see blicking in here. Radio Times is very excited. Jamie Dornan is back as the tourist. Dreamboat Jamie. That's that. That's film. Again, we were talking about Roald Dahl. You know, we have the new version with Anne Hathaway with The Witches. That's their movie of the day. I think Anne Hathaway does a good job. She's no Angelica Houston.
No.
She's not. And I think there's a charm to both films. I prefer the other one because I think it scared the shit out of me when I was younger. I'm not going to pick The Boss Baby 2, Family Business. I'm just going to tell you that now. I probably, if I had to pick one, which I have to do, the whole point of this podcast, I might just throw in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh.
New Year's Day, probably be another day for another big feed. 5:20, again, sitting down in front of the TV. You can't move. All the sweets, there's some left. Everyone's left the bounties there. It's like, yes, happy days. And if there's a tin of roses, there'll be like the strawberry cream ones that nobody else likes apart from me. And it's like, boom, I'm done. Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. Bonnie and Clyde, I quite like as well. Just, you know, Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway, great little choice, 10 o'clock, 11:50 in the evening. That's kind of where I'm going. But I also see BBC Three are showing Crazy Rich Asians, a film I have a bit of a soft spot for, just for that little Japanese version of Coldplay's Yellow. And you go, oh, it sounds lovely. It's a beautiful song. You're like, oh. Yeah, that's just me. But anyway, right. This is the last movie on this podcast. But this is the first movie you're going to be watching in 2024. What's it going to be, Nicole?
I think I'm going to go with Moana.
Okay.
Because I love Moana.
And you're really excited about the live-action remake?
No.
Featuring Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
No. I would love Disney to stop with the...
I don't really see the point in remaking something like Moana that's so recent.
Yeah.
Because when was that out? That was...
2016.
2016. That's...
Not that long ago.
No. It's weird that it's been remade.
And it's still like it yes, it's been 8 years, I guess. It will have been 8 years since it came out in a couple of weeks' time. But I feel like it's still very much in the cultural zeitgeist as a recent Disney film. Yep. So it's just kind of front and centre for...
I'm going to hold my hands up here. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's great.
I've never seen it, and my lovely wife loves it for that one song that everyone else always plays. And I know that song through her. It's a bit like Frozen. My lovely wife, when she's had a few drinks, I talk about my lovely wife a lot, I know in this podcast, but she'll like when she's had one too many sherbets. And that's not cocaine, that's just what I call booze. She will often be like, if I pick her up from a night out, she'll be like, can we go get chicken nuggies? Yeah. And she'll be like, she'll whisper that one thing in my ear that could drive a man to distraction, Nicole. She'll say, play Frozen. Play Frozen. And I will get a full rendition of the soundtrack. Well, you'll get the first song. She'll be like, no, I don't like that one. Second song, no, not that one. No, the second one she does like. The third one, Love is an Open Door. And she'll do both the girl bits, the boy bit. She does that full. And if she fluffs the line, she's like, no, put it back to start. And she has the same reaction to Moana. But I don't know why I've never seen it. It never grabbed me because it's like Frozen. It's not Pixar. It's Disney Studio. It's the same way like Wish. Have you seen Wish?
I haven't, no. I actually really want to. I've seen some people complaining about the animation style of it, but I think it looks really cool.
I think it's fine. I mean, I've no problem with the animation. I just think it's a bit... For the film that is being billed as the celebration of Disney's 100-year anniversary, and without spoiling things, what it tries to do and tries to bring in all those references, I think it's a little bit underwhelming. But Chris Pine, Dreamboat, a lot of men in my lives, and these I seem to talk about, these are dreamboats, what can I say? Chris Pine is great as the villain. I just thought it was perfectly serviceable. And I'm not surprised we have recorded this week our end of year show. I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it at all. Didn't mention many kind of family friendly stuff. We were more talking about like horror films, like Suitable Flesh, which I know you were a big fan of. But yeah, I'm tempted if I'm going to convince you to watch Paddington 2 and I'm going to convince you to watch Book of Life, I will make it my mission. Someone will have to remind me to watch Moana. BBC One. Now here we go. So BBC One, 4:00 starts, but it starts on 2:55 p.m. on BBC Two in Wales. So if you're in Wales, it's going to be BBC Two. But if you're everywhere else, and I'm assuming that's here, it's 4:00 on BBC One. Mm-hmm. So we go. That is our last choice. And that pretty much, well, we never know how to really end these pod. What I would say is, of any of those films you've picked so far through this selection, you would say of all of the films, I would definitely recommend seeking that out.
The one that is immediately coming to mind is Miracle on 34th Street. I don't know why.
That's okay. Everyone loves a bit of Richard Attenborough. He's a nice Santa. He's a lovely Santa. I think if I had to recommend one film of all the ones that we've talked about, I would probably say, you know what, I'm going to go Book of Life. Because if you've never seen it, definitely seek it out. It's really charming. By a studio I hadn't heard of. And just took me by surprise and thoroughly enjoyed it. So that, as I say, is on, let me just double check. I think that is on the 29th of December. Let me double check. Because yours is Christmas Eve, isn't it?
I believe so. I did write
Yes. So if I had to go for one, you know what, to hell with it. I'm going to go The Book of Life, Friday the 29th, 2:15 in the afternoon on BBC One. If you're off work, if you're not doing anything, I think you can't go much wrong by watching that. And yours is, Nicole?
I'm going to switch. I'm going to go 9 to 5. I feel like there's going to be a lot of...
You're stealing my pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've sacrificed. There you go. I have indoctrinated you and I force you to go 9 to 5.
9 to 5.
And when's that on, Nicole?
That is on BBC Two at 10:30 on the 24th.
Perfect. So that's us. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little rambly chat as we look through the Christmas TV listings. Thank you very much, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this being in the studio as opposed to being on Zoom. Hopefully we'll get you back in again when we've had on the TV show a couple of times. You're on the end of your show, which is also available. Not only can you see it on MBTV, it's available on our YouTube channel. You can find your previous outing when you were on for Napoleon as well, and previous podcasts, because this is what your third or fourth. You've been on talking about Pearl, Scream 4, what's happened to that franchise. Let's not talk about where we're going to go with the next installment. We look forward to getting yourself and John back on for that one. I think all our predictions are pretty much wrong in that one now.
Yeah.
And we had you on recently talking about Disney. We had you on talking about Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
So there we go. So yes, all that's really left for me to do now is thank you very much, dear listeners, for listening. Hope you have a good Christmas. We are, as a little bona fide little treat, because I never know how to end these pods, I thought I would give you one more little audible treat for Christmas. Nicole's at this stage, Christmas Eve, you're opening your Christmas Eve present. This is ours from Banterflix. Many years ago, myself and Charlie Brown, after one too many sherbets, we did a little rendition of One More Sleep Till Christmas. And I think just now, since it is Christmas, and since it's coming up to the Christmas specials, I thought we'd finish with that. So for now, dear listener, thank you very much. Hopefully you've enjoyed this pod. There's more Christmas specials to seek out. The classic that is the King of Castle Street holiday special. The no expense has been spared, I assure you, listener. But for now, we're going to leave you. So thank you very much, Nicole.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And now, I'm going to leave you with my lovely self, Charlie Brown, singing One More Sleep Till Christmas.
There's magic in the air this evening, magic in the air. The world is at our best, you know, when people love and care. The promise of excitement is one the night will keep. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas. The world has got a smile today, the world's got a glow. No such thing strange as when a stranger says hello. Everyone is family, we're having so much fun. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas. 'Tis a season to be jolly and joyous. With a burst of pleasure we feel it arrive. 'Tis a season when the saints can employ us. Spread the news about peace and keep love alive. There's something in the wind today that's good for everyone. Yes, faith is in our hearts today. We're shining like the sun, and everyone can feel it. The feeling's running deep. After all, there's only one more sleep to Christmas. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, Banterflix.
Any Kermit style?
Merry Christmas, Banterflix! Yay!